So let's see here. We have all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Let's get concrete. Let's indulge your desire to show off your diciness. Um, and I want to roll some dice, and I want to then ask a bunch of toughish questions.
Okay.
So you tell me what kind of dice we need to be rolling about what.
D6s.
No, I know that. I mean,
You said what kind of dice?
true.
You said it, man.
Holding them already.
Right. So basic task is you pick is you want to do something. You describe how you're doing it.
Right.
The controller says, "Okay, here's what skill to roll," because you never roll your attributes. You just roll your skills, and then you roll the dice.
I saw those, and I saw the ladder that we talked about last time. And so the precise nature of resolution in the moment doesn't really, surprise me. Or rather, it doesn't raise questions for me.
Right.
What does is some things we talked about last time in terms of optimizing. Can I, for example, set it up to disadvantage the person that I'm going to come into a confrontation with? And I was looking at the mechanics, and effectively what I'm talking about, you're calling hazards.
Yeah.
Now those are understandable in the sense that we're in a car chase and it's along a pothole-ridden street with, who knows what other, dreadful
probably
hazards
fruit parts, plate glass windows.
Sure, all sorts of things. Well, that's the plate glass window is not a hazard. I want one of those because if we don't drive through it, it's not a car chase. But the thing, but you see what I mean. I mean, I get those as hazards. But for example, if I can maneuver, perhaps through other skills and especially contacts, my enemy into a circumstance where, first of all, they're using the skill that I want to use, not the one they want to use. So that means, and I'm really good at this, so that means that with any luck at all, I will be burning, I will be burning their dice.
Well, they don't have dice, remember.
Oh, right. Okay. So, all right. That's a good point. What I want is to not have hazards, and I don't want my dice burned.
Right. So
they
are going to come.
Right.
If they are faster than you, they're going to accomplish what you do unless you counter them.
Right. And not only that, I'm thinking though, I mean, the last thing I want to do is to go up against Morte in hand-to-hand combat in any way, shape, or form. And the worst thing about him too is that he doesn't give a shit about circumstances. Right. I mean, he's deadly. That's all there is to it. So, therefore, how do I keep from ever being shot at by Morte? Right? How do I keep that from ever happening? So it's not about me, hitting him and hurting him. I just never want him to be able to shoot me.
Right.
So I need to control the circumstances of any confrontation we may have. I can outmaneuver him as long as it's about information and about reputation and stuff like that. But I can't, I'll take one look at his scores and it's like, okay, forget it. Just forget it. I'm not. Right. My dice are going to be screwed.
Right.
I mean, who knows? Maybe his whole aura of death is just a walking hazard for all I know, right? However you want.
Oh yeah, he's definitely just by himself.
Right. He's just already a hazard, just eat your die, forget it. Right. Oh,
named opponents are going to be hazards.
Right. No, that makes perfectly good sense. And so with this going on, I'm interested. I mean, so I'm looking at my die. What I really want to do is keep Morte from, I'm trying to remember that particular novel, but I can't. I remember when they introduced him and it was just like all of a sudden, it was like the deadly thing that everybody knows that the reader never heard of before.
Right.
Um, but
That's Morte is from Blue Bell, right?
all the way back in Bluebell, maybe,
I
I don't
think
know.
so. Because the
Well,
second one, Strega, that was with the mob,
mm-hmm.
and then Blue Bell was the ghost car, or the what's it called, the ghost
Bluebell's the
car?
ghost car, yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Ghost
Morte's
van. That's it. The
ghost
ghost
van.
van. Yeah.
And that's his thing.
Okay. So,
I believe.
if in that case, um, I want to accomplish something, which is basically to keep him from doing something. Maybe it's I don't. I'm trying to. I can't remember the novel. Bluebell always kind of annoyed me, so I never bothered to reread it.
Oh, okay.
But
I like that. That's one
no,
of my
it's
favorites.
maybe I should I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, we're talking 1987 or
Yeah.
eight or something. So maybe I
But
should.
you could say just the same about the Cobra, right, from the first book.
Oh yeah,
Another
absolutely.
karate guy.
Yeah. I think they played. I mean, now I'm just blithering. They played up Morte a lot more than they played
Well,
up
yeah,
the Cobra.
because Morte wanted to go after Max,
Right. Right.
which was
Now I
for most
remember.
people
Right.
suicide.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, the whole point is to basically get him off of Max's case and have it not be worth his while.
Right.
That's the whole thing. So in your system, I don't want to fight Morte. I want to use other dice against him.
Right.
And so I've got some other skill, or what would you call it? What would be a useful way to basically, as a God,
circumvent a hand to hand fight.
Right, exactly.
You'd want to use, so the skills that I would put in that bucket would be stealth.
Mm-hmm.
Would be influence.
Influence is what I'm talking about here, because I'm not trying to get the drop on him. I'm trying to,
right. And the third would be streetwise,
right,
probably.
Right. So in that, I can see those.
And demolitions.
Well, that works when you need to.
Yeah.
Then, hence the Wesley problem.
Right.
So then we take a look at this influence thing. Now I'm better off with that because Morte is, it's all physical for him. It's all, he's all stealth and he's all lethality, right? The bullet hits you between the eyes and that's the end of it. So, or whatever it was. Now the situation here though with influence, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, when I look at your rules and I see I'm trying to draw, I mean, it's the action movie stuff. When it comes to the action movie stuff, your rules just like bam, 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 bam. It's almost
hopefully
right. But in terms of the kind of maneuverings of something like To Live and Die in LA, the maneuverings of a Burke novel, the maneuverings of even A Better Tomorrow, which is a slightly subtler movie than it deserves to be. But the stepping, negotiatory sort of thing. I mean, just to be real meta for a moment, in my take of the first A Better Tomorrow movie, Ho's ability to keep his brother from, to keep his brother away from his life as a gangster. I mean, those are roles. These are things that he's maneuvering and goes ahead and accepts going to prison, in order to do that. So stuff like that. So what I think I'm trying to do is to is to say we've got this cool system for car chases and hazards and injuries and stuff, and we're going to watch it in action. But I would like to know more about how it is that I got stuck in this car chase when I didn't want to be. Right? I was rolling to stay out of this situation. And damn it, it didn't work. Now I'm stuck in the car chase.
Right.
So that's kind of what I'm after.
I don't have any right now. I don't have any I don't have what you'd usually use to set up that kind of stuff. I don't have like whatever you want to call it, some kind of karma pool where you can like stock up resources. And I don't have,
Right.
I do have complications as an idea. And I mean, the general idea is things don't go well for you, right?
Well, I think that we already have, so to some extent, the mechanics sitting in front of us without special other mechanics.
Okay.
I mean, if we're talking about that influence role or that ability to, I mean, even just stealth, right? I mean, we're trying to stake out a dude or something like that, or follow the money, and it's all going to be about stealth and streetwise, and we blow it.
Right.
And so I don't really want to get into the complications of who gets to say that the driver and his car are there, or maybe we're just smart enough to have him there in case we blow it.
Right.
But however that ends up being part of what's going on, now we're in the car chase. So let's do a car chase, right?
Okay.
So who's you don't roll, I roll,
Right.
and I'm
Right.
good at driving, but put me in a terrible situation for a car race. What am I facing? What are all the ways my dice go wrong?
Jesus. So let's say you're an expert car, you're an expert driver, right? Because if you're the driver, and let's say you have a 4,
Mm-hmm. Got my
you're in pursuit of the quarry. We'll say they're also an expert.
Mm-hmm.
Which does not mean they're going to automatically give you hazard because they're not better than you.
Right.
If they're better than you, then you'd automatically suffer a die penalty.
Well, let's make life difficult for me. They are better than me.
They're a master getaway driver.
Right.
So they have a 5.
Mm-hmm. And so here I am, I've got a 4, but I just busted it down to 3 because of that.
Well, you after you roll.
Oh, after I roll. Right. Okay, so I'm going to lose.
You muster your dice and then you roll them. So there's 2 things that are going to automatically happen. One is you're going to lose your highest die because they're better than you. 2, you're going to lose a 5. If you roll a 5, you're going to lose 1 5.
Because it's the match skill.
Right, because it's the same skill. And he happens to be good. So you're going to lose a really good result.
Right. And then I've also got the problem of hazards.
Right. And then there's just road hazards, which let's just say it's night, raining, hurricane, whatever,
Right.
Horrible conditions. You're by yourself. There's no helping dice. Or there's nobody in the car who can help.
Actually, I was hoping we were going to have an unskilled technological help from the. Let's have the other guy be in the car, and much to my dismay as a player, happily says, I get down on the floor of the car, right, in our junky old car, and I'm actually able to peel a panel back and start mucking with stuff in there, and so to juice up something or other. So
okay, so we'll say that would be engineering help. Well, let's just say we allow it for whatever reason, which means you're automatically going to suffer, according to the rules, you're automatically going to suffer a complication because he has unskilled technology help.
But I do get a die for it.
You do get a die. Yeah, you do get a die for it.
Got it. Okay. Yep. So in that case, I'm going to roll my 5 dice, and I'm going to take away the highest result, and I'm going to strip out a 5. And so I have a question about that if it turns out that way. But right now I roll, and I get a 6, which has to go away. I get no 5s. And so I end up with a 3, a 2, a 1, and a 1.
Okay. So it's bad.
Right.
But so you have failed,
right?
But there's a special effect. That's the basic resolution for that.
Okay. So right. Failed, but there's a special effect. Okay, gotcha. So I'm in good shape.
The number of the number of ones you roll for special effects are important sometimes, because that's basically the severity of the special effect. If it's if it's a bonus to something, or if it's a, I don't think in this case it matters how many ones you rolled.
Okay.
But
okay, so but there's a mechanic there.